Get into some little chemtrail news. I know I talked about some of this stuff before, and now this was sent to me, and I found this in one of my emails actually, showing the inside of these planes. And you know, you think that they're tanks and stuff, but I got to talk about these tanks because you can see how they're interconnected like that. And this was proven before when Trump was on one of these planes looking at him when I think he was at Boeing. Now that one's obviously spray nozzles. So that's definitely aerosol spraying. Yeah, this one here, pause it right there. This is what I want to talk about because this is what they do when they test these planes. You'll have tanks just where the seats are going to be, and then they'll have these hooked up to different hoses, and then they can pump water back and forth and test the plane for, like, if people are walking around on the aircraft or whatever, so they can test for, you know, imbalance in the plane and see if it can handle it. So this one, I believe, you know, I can't completely prove it, but this one, I believe, is the testing, not a chemtrail plane. So now coming up here, let's go ahead and start the clip. We will see ones that I believe are the chemtrail aerosols. Now this one obviously looks like it is spraying aerosols. It's coming out of the side here of the craft. That one right there, I believe, is a chemtrail aerosol, because you wouldn't be able to test the side to side. You'd only be back and forth. You know, and what do they really need to do all this? Again, here, it looks like there's spray nozzles there. But I'll go ahead and step forward here. Yeah, that was always a popular photo right here. Oh, now this one I believe is an aerosol. They got the white tanks. And you say why, I always kind of thought about this too. Why would you have separate tanks to, I guess it would help with the sloshing if you get too much sloshing back and forth to help to control it a little bit. But you would have I think you would have a bigger one singular tank. And these are bigger than that other clip I showed, but to keep it more centered. And, you know, because then they'd have to mix up all these batches for each tank. But coming up here, we do have one that's undeniable. Definitely a spray tank. Right? Next slide. Right? Oh, next slide after this. Right here. Look at that. Got a tank. You can see the pipe go out the side of the craft. Now, why would you have to do that if it was a testing thing? You'd be shooting the water out to get rid of it so you can see what it's like when it's empty? I don't think so. So right here, I believe that is definitely an aerosol chemtrail plane. And there's the tank outside of the craft. Definitely looks like what you do, have one bigger tank, load it up with your chemicals, get it the concentration that they're looking for, and then go with that. So this brings me to my next clip, because this is where it gets kind of hairy. Why are they doing this? You know, they spraying this stuff, they're wrecking people's immune systems. You got barium, aluminum, strontium in these aerosols, and the stuff's been falling to the ground, and people have been testing it. So they know that this stuff is in there. And there's a great documentary called What in the World Are They Spraying? I just watched that the other week. This was what was published on here in 2015. Might have been out some time before that. But we got Dane Wingington. He's a solar expert talking about Mount Shasta. Now I'm going to try to turn this up all the way. It's probably going to be a little low for you folks. I'll do the best I can. It's a low clip. I can turn it up and post on the podcast for you folks, but live here it's going to be a little challenge. But let's play this clip, and this is so interesting.
Higher of these toxic materials. We're talking about quantities, for example, off the side of Mount Shasta. If you can pan back, that's a landmark in Northern California, considered to be a pristine water source. Aluminum or snow sample off the side of Mount Shasta tested 61,000 parts per billion.
Insane.
This is just ordinary snow water. And people are drinking this stuff when they're hiking on the mountain. And remember, government action is required at 1,000. This is 61 times over the government limit, and our hikers are drinking this poisonous water on Mount Shasta Mountain itself.
Mount Shasta. Government the limit is 1,000, 61,000 parts per million aluminum up there. And this is, like I said, this documentary is a little dated. So holy cow, folks. And it's like, why are they doing this? Later on in this documentary, he goes down to Hawaii and they got bark peeling off the trees and stuff. The guys are really concerned about it down there. And what was the ultimate control? You got to control people with their food. If you can control that, you can control everything. So now then Monsanto gets into this stuff. They can release seeds that can grow in this stuff that you can't, take the seeds from that production and then keep regrowing. Therefore, ultimate control. You bought seeds from us this year. Well, you have to buy from us next year. If you don't, you can't grow. Ultimate control. What are you going to do? Because they're geoengineering the atmosphere for this crap. And then they want to say in the name of preventing global warming. Give me a break. This is completely ridiculous. And then later on in this documentary as well, they go up to the Congress people, senators, Congress, try to get them informed about this. Say, did you hear about geoengineering? And they're like, no, I never heard about it. And they're so quickly to run off because they don't want to interact with the crowd, the people that they're supposed to represent. They just walk away. It's unbelievable, folks. And of course, ultimate goal, control. Now, hopefully this starts changing. I asked Em and Miss M about it last week when they were on the show, and they were saying this control is, the deep state goes so deep that in order to get this eliminated, there's just so many checks and balances that they have to go through to get there. I hope it's sooner. Like I said, I've seen a reduction this last year in aerosols over Wisconsin. Sometimes you'll have a clear week for sometimes a week or two, clear skies. Like, I've never seen that. And then all of a sudden, oh, they're still doing it. They're out there. It's unbelievable. But once those change, I'm just ready for a big, big change, folks.